Welcome to CKLU 96.7. This is another edition of Creator Conversations presented by our creator. I'm your host, Jess, and this is a show where every week I sit down with a different Sudburyan and get to know them and their story. This week we are talking with Krysta Tunn. She's one of the board members of Heart of Ruth Mission, and they're a group that's been doing some really amazing work in Kenya. The organization was founded by Rebecca Dallaire and Christy Haddad. Rebecca and Christy came together over their love for mission work. They traveled to Gede, Kenya together in August of 2012. This was the second trip for Christy, the first trip for Rebecca. And obviously they found it to be super impactful on their lives. And when they came back home, they were ready to go ahead and they started their own organization, Heart of Ruth Mission. And ever since 2012, they have been going forth doing all sorts of great work in Gede. And they've been sponsoring children and taking care of the Rainbow House in Kenya. They're working on many new projects, one of which is a new transition home where the children that are leaving the orphanage because they've turned 18 will still have a safe place to be that's connected to the Rainbow Home. So right now they are in phase 1 of 3 to achieve this project. You can find lots of information if you look them up on Facebook. You can find Heart of Ruth Mission. They'll have updates on all sorts of different events and fundraisers and ways that you can help out with their cause and to help the children that are staying at Heart of Ruth Mission Rainbow House Children's Home. One of the major benefits to the children when you choose to sponsor someone from Rainbow House Children's Home is that they now have the opportunity to go to private school, which means now they have the opportunity to teach English, to learn English. They have the opportunity to get more advanced skills, and generally sets them up for a more prosperous future. So if you are looking this year as maybe one of your resolutions to find some ways to give back to the community, definitely look up Heart of Ruth, and they would definitely be happy to work with you in any way that you are interested in. So without further ado, we are going to speak with Krysta Tunn. She is, again, one of the board members of the organization. She's herself went on a few mission trips already, and she herself is sponsoring 2 children that are staying at Rainbow House. And we're going to talk to Krysta and find out more about the organization and how she got involved. This week's edition of Creator Conversations, we are talking with Krysta Tunn. She is one of the board of director members of Heart of Ruth that's been doing lots of great, important work overseas in Africa. So, Krysta, can you first off tell us about what Heart of Ruth Mission is all about?
So we're an Ontario-based foundation that started with a couple of local girls here, and we built additions to an orphanage in Kenya.
So you build additions to an orphanage. So how did this organization get started?
One of the girls went with her college and fell in love with the place and came home, told her other friend about it. The other girl also fell in love and decided to start going, and the 2 of them decided to start their own organization.
So it's mostly 3 of you that run the organization, right?
There's actually 6 of us now. We've grown quite a bit.
So it sounds like there's a pretty good base for the organization then.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the orphanage called?
The orphanage itself is called Rainbow House Children's Home.
Okay.
In Gede, Kenya.
And so the children over in Kenya that are living in your orphanage, what would be kind of basically, I guess, the benefit of them living in the Rainbow Home versus maybe like another orphanage that would just be already there in Kenya?
Well, we sponsor this particular one. Like, we've completely taken over it, and we have 21 of them in private school now.
Okay,
and that's our main goal.
So private school versus the public school system. You were telling me about this before. So how does kind of being able, having the opportunity to go into private school versus public school, what is kind of the difference for them for their learning?
The public school, they don't learn any English. They barely learn anything at all. They're not so much, they're lucky if a teacher shows up. There's also like 60 kids in a class, and in the private school, there are 16 max per class, and they learn English pretty much right away, and they write letters to their sponsors like right away. And it's just a much better education, and they get to go to secondary school because of it.
So, do you have any stories of any children that have stayed in the Rainbow House that have, been able to go on and have much more prosperous futures than they maybe would have been able to?
Yeah, well, our first child that was sponsored by a girl in England, he went to college in Mombasa, and he ended up, I'm not really sure what he took, sorry, but he ended up going back and working at the orphanage now.
Okay, so now he's part of the team. He was kind of so impassioned by the help and support that he got that he wanted to go back.
They're a big family at the orphanage, so once you leave, once you're there, you're part of the family.
So the Heart of Ruth group, you guys are able to do quite a few different mission trips.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of projects are you working on when you're going to Kenya to do these mission trips?
Well, last November there was a group of 13 of us who went, and we got to build the wall around the orphanage. It was only 3 feet high. It was not very safe. Things were getting stolen. Things were going missing. So we built it to 8 feet high, which is now a lot safer. We also built a security office, and we've hired a guard there, because our children's safety is obviously the most important thing. And then we also built a library at the orphanage so that our kids can go and study and do their homework. A local college there donated 10,000 books to us.
Wow.
That was a big thing. We actually did a tour of the school in Kilifi that donated the books to us. So that was a big thing that we were proud of. We got their bathrooms fixed when we were there as well, because their bathrooms were a complete disaster. So we fixed all the plumbing, fixed all the walls, everything like that. And currently our biggest project is a transition house, which we have just broken ground on. We are in stage 1 of 3. So when a child turns 18 there, they
are essentially evicted from the orphanage.
Exactly. And we have been able to keep the kids there. We have one 18-year-old now. And so we bought the land already. We've got everything covered. And now we're going to be, we're building a home right beside the orphanage so that the kids can move in there when they turn 18 and they're not living on the streets. Once they're living on the streets, they can't go to the private school.
So obviously making sure that they have a home is integral for them to be able to continue their education.
Exactly, because most of them will not graduate when they're 18 because they're once they transition into
from the public sector to the private sector, they're so far behind.
They're so far behind. It's like almost restarting school.
Okay.
So.
And now you guys host several different fundraisers throughout the year to support the Heart of Ruth.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a few of the ones that you have coming up?
I don't remember the date. I could find out though. We do the celebrity server night at Boston Pizza a couple times a year. We usually do it every 3 months or so, and we have one coming up in February. It's all over the Boston Pizza site though, so they always advertise for us. And we're hoping to have a few more things coming up in the spring. We also have the cast of Letterkenny, the TV show filmed in Sudbury, signed a hockey jersey for us, and we are going to be raffling that off in the next few months, over the next few months.
Okay.
That goes on sale tomorrow.
Oh, excellent. So if you're interested in trying your luck in the draw for the Letterkenny jersey, how can you enter your name?
Old Rock and Pepe Panini on Durham Street will be selling tickets. They are $3 each or 2 for $5. Pretty cheap.
And you could win your very own Letterkenny signed jersey by the entire cast.
I told the cast about it, and they wanted to do something, so they donated a whole hockey jersey, like the Letterkenny Irish hockey jersey, which is their team on the show.
And you told me, too, that Jared himself kind of went around all the different sets. He really believed in the cause. He wanted to help out as much as he could.
So I told Jared Kiso, who plays Wayne in the show, the main character. He's also one of the producers of the show. I told him about our organization, and I asked him if he would get a poster or a cast picture or something signed by, I was just thinking he would do like a couple people. And he went back on a mission and got a hockey jersey signed by the entire cast, went from set to set and got the entire cast to sign it.
All right, so again, if you wanted to get tickets to win that Letterkenny jersey, you can check out Peppy Panini's and Old Rock on Durham, and there'll be tickets there. It was $3 for one, $5 for two, to get your name in the draw. Now, as far as Heart of Ruth, so lots of people might be listening to this program right now and thinking that they are really excited about all the work that you guys are doing. If you're somebody that maybe wants to get involved with the Heart of Ruth mission, what are some ways that people could get engaged?
Well, there's many ways. They can come talk to me directly here every Tuesday. They can also message one of us on Facebook. They can go to heartofruthmission.org and message us off there. They can go to the Heart of Ruth Mission on Facebook and message us there. And it'd be one of us directly answering that person. So we do have a trip coming up next week. Obviously, it's a little late, but we have a girl leaving Monday to go to Kenya. And then I'm going back in November of this year with hopefully a big enough group. We'll see.
And then Heart of Ruth, you also sponsor children that are living overseas living over in the Rainbow Home. So if you were interested in sponsoring a child through Heart of Ruth, would you just kind of get in touch the same way?
Absolutely.
And what's the cost typically to sponsor a child?
The cost is around $500 a year. You can go $43 a month as well. But that $500 covers the 11 months that they're in school. They go to school 6 days a week. They take it very seriously. But that $500 covers their tuition, their uniform, their shoes, their backpack, their books, and a hot lunch at school every day.
Every single day?
Yeah.
So if they don't get a hot meal for some reason at home, well, I guess they would at the Rainbow House.
Yeah. They do at Rainbow, but not.
But that's not a guarantee for every kid.
No, exactly.
So, perfect. Well, we really hope that you guys continue with the work that you guys are doing. It's definitely very important for Sudbury to kind of be getting around with something so positive. So thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you.
Thanks again for tuning into CKLU 96.7. This is your host, Jess, back again just after our first segment of interview. We were talking this hour with Krysta Tunn. She is one of the board of director members for Heart of Ruth Mission, and she was telling us about all the exciting work they've been doing in Gede, Kenya to upkeep their Rainbow House, where they're sponsoring all sorts of children and helping them get a greater education with the opportunity to go to public school, as well as obviously making sure that they are safe off the streets and well fed and taken care of. So we are going to go into a music break now. I wanted to highlight today actually a few shows that we have coming up in and around our city. So we have coming up, first of all, we're going to play a song by Paul Reddick. He is the 2017 winner of the Juno Award for Blues Album of the Year. He'll be playing at the Motley Kitchen on January 18th. This will be a dinner and a show performance, so you can get your tickets right now if you head over to, if you head on Facebook, you can look up Motley Kitchen. You can find their event page there. This is a combined effort with Northern Lights Festival of Borealis. So doors for the show open at 6 p.m. This is a $55 ticket, and this includes a buffet dinner starting at 6:30, and the show starts about roughly 7:30. If you're not really interested in staying for dinner, maybe you're more of a eat-at-home kind of person, you just want to catch the show, seats for show only are $20, so with the show starting at 7:30. If you're interested in reserving your seats, you can call the Motley Kitchen at 705-222-6685. And again, this is a presentation in collaboration with Northern Lights Festival Boreal. Paul Reddick at the Motley Kitchen for dinner and a show. Next up is a little bit of a throwback for you that have been listening to the show last week. Actually, for New Year's, we did an episode with Jen McCarroll. She used to be one of the members of Pistol George Warren. She gave us her top 5 Northern Ontario acts to listen out for in 2018. So definitely check out ourcreator.com to listen to that episode with her. So we aired that twice. We did a bit of a repeat, so that aired on New Year's Day and also last Sunday. So it got us feeling a little nostalgic for the good old Pistol George Warren days. So we're gonna play as well a song from them. Coming up next is the Sheepdogs. They have a show coming up very soon in support of their Changing Colors album that is coming out February 2nd, 2018. So they will be performing at the Caruso Club on March 5th. Tickets for the Sheepdogs show are available right now. So if you look up on Facebook, the Sheepdogs, you'll find the date. If you look on there, you can find the link. The tickets are for advance right now are $30. They're sold out. Early bird tickets were $25, so you've already missed out on that. So don't waste any more time. The show is Monday, March 5th, starting at 7:30. So to round out that set, our last song will be from the James Barker Band. They are going to be playing again at the Caruso Club January 23rd. They'll be bringing with them Megan Patrick and JoJo Mason, who you might remember who performed over the summer at Feast Fest. Tickets are on sale right now for that show. Tickets are on sale again for that show January 23rd, starting at 7 o'clock. The $26 pre-sale tickets are already sold out. General admission tickets are currently available for $31. So make sure you get yours before those sell out. Now, if you do go to any of these shows, make sure you let us know about it. Go on Instagram and use the hashtag OurCreator for your chance to be featured in one of our Feature Friday posts. And as always, we always want to see what you're up to. We want to see what you're loving about Sudbury, how you're spending your time, and follow us on Instagram to see what we're up to. We're always posting on Twitter, on Facebook. You can find us all over the place, and as always, check out www.ourcreator.com. That's OURCRATER for articles all throughout the week. So with that, let's get into some music here. So first up, we have It Goes With You by Paul Reddick, True Believers by Pistol George Warren, Take a Trip by the Sheepdogs, and Chills by James Barker Band. Hey, thanks for tuning in to Creator Conversations. I bet you're expecting some music right now. Turns out copyright laws even apply to us. So check below in the description for all the links for the music that we would have played this episode, and you can always follow us on Spotify to keep up to date with our playlists. Welcome back again. This is CKLU 96.7. This is Creator Conversations presented by Our Creator. I'm your host, Jess. We just listened to It Goes With You by Paul Reddick, True Believers by Pistol George Warren, Take a Trip by the Sheepdogs, and Chills by the James Barker Band. This hour, we are talking with Krysta Tunn. She is one of the board of directors for Heart of Ruth Mission, and they're an organization that's doing all sorts of amazing work overseas in Gede, Kenya, and they are working with the Rainbow House, which is an orphanage that they have taken great efforts to build up to make safer for the children living there. They've been doing mission trips over the last couple of years. They are also working right now on a new project where they are seeking to build a secondary location that will be right beside as a transition home for the children that turn 18 and are no longer qualified to live in the orphanage anymore. So that they're able to continue to go to private school and continue forth with their education. So Krysta is absolutely a huge part of this organization. She has herself done a few different mission trips. She's already working towards another mission trip coming up at the end of the year where she's hoping to be able to go spend Christmas with the children. They're just working on some really amazing work, and we always want to highlight Sudburyans that are doing great things. So we'll be moving straight into that interview there and hearing some of Krysta's Creator Conversations questions. Her response to some of our hard-hitting questions about our city. We'll also be hearing some of her hot jams of the moment, some of the songs that remind her of her time back in Africa. and her own personal story of some of the children, two of the children that she sponsors herself, living in the Rainbow House. All right, so we are back again with Krysta Tunn. She is one of the organizing directors at Heart of Ruth Mission. They've been doing lots of different exciting work to get Rainbow House up going in Kenya. So Rainbow House is an orphanage for children in Kenya, and obviously funded and taken care of, maintained by Heart of Ruth. They've done lots of mission work to update the plumbing, update the building itself. And also the next big thing they're working on right now is to make a transition home. So for all these children that basically are in Rainbow House, when they turn 18, they are evicted from the orphanage. You are fending for yourself. And that's a kind of a big deal, because these children all have this really great opportunity to go to public school, as being part of the Rainbow House and being sponsored by some Siberians here. And if you don't have a home, you can't go to private school, and therefore you basically can't go on to secondary school, and there continues this kind of whole cycle of just bad circumstances.
Yep.
So Krysta, you have been on quite a few mission trips. So when did you go on your very first mission trip with Heart of Ruth?
My first one was the summer of 2014.
Okay. So what was your impression arriving? Was it what you were expecting? Was it?
Some things were what I expected. Others were worse conditions than I expected. Some things were better than I expected. Just, you see the state that people live in there, and you really get a new outlook on things. But they're also so ridiculously positive and happy.
They're so ridiculously positive and happy, and they kind of come back like, what right do I ever have to be in a bad mood?
Exactly. That's exactly it.
So you yourself actually foster a few of the children there.
I do.
So can you tell us a bit about that, how you met one of these children? Actually, I know you have a really good story about the first child that you sponsored.
Yes. So when I was there in 2014, we only had 8 kids in private school. And I made the decision there to sponsor one of them for private school, because it's something I've always wanted to do, and
time was right.
Yeah, and I just never had the opportunity before, and being there, I decided to sponsor one of them. So I asked the manager of the house who he thought would be the best to go to school. You know, who would succeed the most, who could really use that in their life. And he suggested one little boy named Mohammed, who has a very sad story, but he's a very strong kid. And so we told him there. Obviously, the manager had to interpret because he didn't speak English. So we told the child that I was going to sponsor him for private school, and he was very happy. He cried, as did I. And then about 5 months into his schooling, he wrote me a letter in English.
So you have been sponsoring Mohammed now for 4 years. So what kind of changes have you been able to see in his development as you've continued to get to know him?
Oh, amazing changes. The first year I met him, he was a shy, introverted little boy who barely spoke to anyone. You know, when all the kids were playing, singing, and dancing, he would sit in the corner and play drums. Very, keeps to himself. Very shy. Not any confidence. No confidence. And then when I went back last November, he was like a completely different kid. Talking, speaking English, playing with the other kids. Now he has all his little buddies, his friends that he plays with or hangs out with. And me and him got to build a library together.
So that was a great opportunity for you guys to spend some real serious time together.
Yeah, we did some pretty serious bonding.
It's nothing like manual labor to bond.
Exactly. We got very close and very attached to each other, and it was very heartbreaking when I left, but
had to come back to real life,
unfortunately.
So since then, you've had such a great experience sponsoring Mohammed. So you have actually decided a few years ago that you wanted to sponsor a second child and give them an opportunity to go to private school as well. So can you tell us more about that?
It was such an amazing opportunity, and seeing Mohammed, the change in him. You know, another kid deserved it as well. They all deserve it, but my mother and I both decided we wanted to sponsor another one together, and we took on Sylvia, whose sponsor backed out at the last minute. So we took her on as well, and it was a great decision. She and I got to spend a little time together as well, but her English is not quite on Muhammad.
Not quite there yet.
No, and she's she's a 14-year-old girl, so, she liked to hang out with her friends and didn't want to hang out with us adults
as much.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So now your sponsored children, so you said Sylvia is 14, and how old is Muhammad right now?
He's 15, going on 16, I believe.
Okay. So do you communicate with them about their sponsorship?
Absolutely. If I wanted to, I could call the manager right now, and I could FaceTime the manager right now, and I could talk to him.
If you wanted to, yeah. And you guys trade letters?
Yeah. I'm actually writing him a letter right now. Our girl on Monday, who's leaving, is going to bring it to him.
So, in the case of Muhammad, you've spent the last couple of years getting to know him through letters, and obviously your very labor-intensive time building the library. So when he writes to you now, and he's had all this opportunity to go to private school and learn new skills, does he tell you maybe like that he has plans for the future, what he wants to be when he grows up?
Yes, actually. He told me last time I was there that he would like to be a doctor, a children's doctor, so that he can help the children like him.
Oh, that's so touching.
I know.
Just pulling on those heartstrings.
He does that.
So, Krysta, this is where we get into our... So, Heart Ruth, how did you get introduced to the organization?
So, my childhood friend was the one that initially went with her college, and I hadn't spoken to her in years. And one day I randomly found her on Facebook about 5 years ago, and I added her, and I was looking through her Facebook one day, and I saw that she was in Kenya. And I messaged her, and I said, okay, we need to go for coffee, and you need to tell me why you were in Kenya and what you were doing. So we went for coffee, and I just absolutely fell in love with everything she was doing, and I thought it was amazing. And she showed me all the videos and pictures of the kids, told me all her stories, and I wanted to be involved. I knew I had to be involved. And then the next year I ended up going. I started volunteering with them, and then I went.
Nice. We're going to go into our greater conversation questions now, so these can be a little tough. Don't worry about playing favorites. It's fine. It's okay. It's allowed here.
Okay.
So who would you say is your favorite Siberian?
I would go with Krysta Haddad. She's one of the other board members. She's my childhood friend that I got in touch with and got involved in Heart of Ruth.
And she's kind of the one that spearheaded the whole thing, really.
She is. She's just like the kindest person. She doesn't have a bad word to say about anybody. She's just positive, full of positivity. So we are actually recording this interview at Old Rock, where we work together. So Krysta, what would you recommend is your favorite latte from the Old Rock menu? My favorite latte would probably be the cookies and cream.
It's a good choice.
It's delicious.
And then we also have tons of different blends here at Old Rock. So what is your favorite blend?
My favorite blend would be the Boathouse blend. Just delicious.
So you can sample that anytime you come here at Old Rock on Durham.
I would drink the whole container if they let me.
Okay, so now we are going to go into our last segment. So our last segment is our hot jam sandwich. So this is one where you get to pick a song that you want me to play, and I pick a song to play as well. And we'll jam them together and make a little mini playlist.
Okay, so Live and Die in Africa by Saudi Soul.
Mm-hmm.
And Let's Do It Again by J Bog.
By J Bog. We're not really sure, but we're going to play it anyways.
It's the song the kids play and dance to all the time.
Okay, so these are both songs that remind you of visiting the children in Africa.
Yes.
And
as soon as I hear them both, they bring me right back to there.
Oh, so nice. Well, I'm listening to a lot of Motown right now. And one song that keeps getting stuck in my head is a Jackson 5 song called I Want You Back. So
anything Michael Jackson's amazing with me.
So I guess that'll be my pick for the week. So thanks, Krista. Again, this is the end of our hour. And if you are interested in finding out more information about Heart of Ruth, you can look up Heart of Ruth Mission on Facebook to keep up to date with all sorts of fundraisers, all the different trips and missions that they're going on. And also contact there yourself if you think that you might be interested in giving a child an opportunity to change their life. And that was the end of our time with Krysta Tunn for this week's edition of Creator Conversations. We hope you've enjoyed listening in this hour and hearing about all the exciting work that Heart of Ruth Mission is involved in and all the work that they're doing to improve the lives of the children at Rainbow House. So we're going to be going into our last segment of music here. And this is, of course, our Hot Jam Sandwich. So we just got 2 requests from Krysta. These are both songs that that bring her right back to Africa and to hanging out with all the kids at Rainbow House and taking part in life with them. So we have a song called Live and Die in Africa by Sati Soul. My pick was, I was way off on the name, but the song is actually called Who's Lovin' You by the Jackson 5. That's one that I've been hearing a lot this week and really enjoying. And she also picked another song called Let's Do It Again by Jay Book. I'm not really sure of the name of this artist, but I'm going to say it's Jay Book. Now, if you have been listening in dedicatedly every week, I want you to know that we are changing to a new time slot, a new earlier time slot. So instead of Sunday nights at 10 o'clock, you will be able to catch us starting this Tuesday. That is January 16th at 5 o'clock. So for this week's episode, we'll be re-airing an episode, an interview that we did with Brittany McNamara, also known as Captain Grayson, and all her cosplay adventures. We'll be going forward into the next week, our January 23rd interview. We're working hard on that as well. So mark your calendars. No longer 10 o'clock on Sunday nights. Now we will be seeing you Tuesdays at 5 o'clock. And with that, let's go into our Hot Jam Sandwich. So again, that is Santi Soul, Live and Die in Africa, Who's Lovin' You by the Jackson 5, and Let's Do It Again by Jay Boog. Hey, thanks for tuning in to Creator Conversations. I bet you're expecting some music right now. Turns out copyright laws even apply to us. So check below in the description for all the links for the music that we would have played this episode, and you can always follow us on Spotify to keep up to date with our playlist. Thanks for tuning in to CKLU 96.7. This is the end of the hour for me for another edition of Creator Conversations. I'm your host, Jess. Again, we just finished off our Hot Jam Sandwich with our recommendations from Krysta Tunn. She gave us a few songs that bring her right back to Africa, where she does all sorts of work with the Rainbow House with her organization, Heart of Ruth Mission. So that was Sati Soul, Live and Die in Africa, Who's Lovin' You by the Jackson 5. That was my pick for this week. And Let's Do It Again by Jay Boog. We'll catch you again next week. We'll catch you again at our new time starting this week, Tuesday, January 16th. We'll be airing now every Tuesday, 5 o'clock. We will catch you in just a few short days with a replay of our previous interview with Brittany McNamara and all of her cosplay adventures. Until then, we'll catch you on the flip side.